My name is Alicia, and in this week's live lesson, we are going to talk about how to maximize your review sessions. I talk a lot about how important it is to review all of the things that you study, but we don't often talk about what to do and how to get the most out of your review sessions. So that's what we're going to look at in this week's session, okay? So as you join, please make sure to hit the like button and of course share this lesson so that other people can find it. That would be super, super cool. As we wait for people to join us live, as always, a couple of quick announcements, super quick announcements. First announcement is about this banner at the bottom of the screen. It says win a lifetime premium account. For the end of the year or for Thanksgiving time, the team put together this contest. So if you click the link in the description on YouTube, below the video on YouTube or above the video on Facebook, you will find this page. And if you scroll down on this page, you will see the entry information. So you can enter to get a free lifetime account if you want to study with us. So if you are already a member, you can still enter for this. And if you don't win, you still will get all of these ebooks too. So check this out. You can find, of course, the entry for the contest. There will be a bunch of good stuff that you can download right away there too. So check this out if you want to get this stuff and or to enter for a lifetime account, the premium account. Forever. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, so that's announcement number one. Announcement number two is, as always, if you have questions for me, about grammar, vocabulary, whatever, culture, prepositions, whatever, you can send them to me for our weekly question and answer series called Ask Alicia. This is an old screenshot. It is now out on the YouTube channel every week again, so you can find it there. You can send your questions to me at englishclass101.com/ask-Alicia. There is a link in the YouTube description for this too. So if you have a question after today's live stream, just send it to me. I will definitely read your question and I will maybe answer your question in this series. Okay, cool. It looks like everything's rolling. I don't see Facebook yet. Maybe Facebook is a little bit slow today. So let's get into today's topic. Some people on YouTube. Hi, YouTube. MTA enthusiast. Hey, Victor, Fatma, Thenu, Odanir. Hello, Alfonso. Hi, Juan. Hello. Good. Okay, it looks like that is working okay. So let's get to today's lesson boards. This is what we are going to talk about in today's lesson. So today's topic, everything today is about review. We're going to focus on reviewing in today's lesson. So the first thing I want to talk about is what is review and why should we do it? Second, we're going to talk about tips for review. And third, we're going to talk about some ideas. So some maybe ways that you can review that hopefully everyone can find something there. Okay, so if you are just joining, and if you haven't already, please make sure to like this video and share it so other people can find the lesson. Okay, let's get into it. Let's start with reviewing. What is review? What is review? So a review session or a review study block is when you look at information you have already studied. You look at information you've already studied. So in a textbook, for example, that means you look at old information again. You refresh your mind, or you look at old vocabulary words again. You look at something you studied once in the past. So this can be vocabulary, it can be grammar, you can do listening review, you can do speaking review, you can do writing review. So I talk a lot on this channel and in live streams about reviewing and why it's important. So let's talk about why you should review in your study sessions, okay? So first thing, maybe the most important thing. With review, if you review your study topics, you remember information better long term. So this means if you study just once, like a vocabulary word just one time, you're probably going to forget it unless you use that vocabulary word a lot in your daily life. If you review something, so that means you study it again and again and again, the chances of you remembering that information in the long term, not just the short term, but in the long term, months and years, you have a better chance of remembering the information if you review. Okay? So this is super, super important. You remember information better long term if you review it. Okay? So, second thing, you can refresh your brain on the details of something. So that means if you studied like a really, really kind of complicated or difficult grammar point and you review the grammar point later, then you can remember the details of that grammar point, okay? So you can refresh your brain on the details of these things. All right. Then, next one, you can use review to check your progress. I think maybe many people don't think about this one, but you can use reviewing to check your progress. What do I mean by that? I mean, the first time you study something, maybe it's difficult or it's kind of challenging for you, yeah? So you review it like a week or 2 weeks later and see, how much did I learn? Like, did I learn this? Is this easy for me now? So you can use review to check your progress. Like if you review something from last month and you think, oh, this is easy now, that means you improved, right? So review is a really good way to check your progress, okay? The next thing you can do with review is find new points for study. Find new points for study. So that means when you review, maybe you find some new vocabulary words you didn't see the first time, or maybe you realize like, oh, I need to study this other grammar point too. That's that's related to this review point. So you can find some new points for study. And finally, you just get more practice, right? So with your review sessions, you're practicing more too. So it's super, super important to review. This one, as I said, is so important. You can remember information better in the long term if you review it. Okay? Cool. All right. Alaratam says, I barely have time to review. Yeah, we're going to talk about how to put your review inside your study sessions. Yeah? Okay. Cool. So this is part 1. What is review and why should we do it? It looks like Facebook made it. Yay, Facebook is here. Hi, Facebook. Evariste and Oscar Jose Joy. Hi, WCH Marek Lamy. Hello. Welcome, Facebookers. Okay, good. Everyone is here. So this is part 1 about why we should review. We'll take a super quick break and then go to review tips, okay? So if you missed it earlier about this banner at the bottom of the screen, there is a free lifetime premium account. There are 34 of them that our team is giving away for Thanksgiving for this kind of appreciation season, right? So if you missed it, you can check the link below the video on YouTube or above the video on Facebook. I showed you earlier, but if you have an account already, you can still enter for this one. That's okay. If you enter, you can get these ebooks too, these PDF ebooks too. So if you don't get the premium account, that's okay. You can still get these. There are 9 of them, so check them out. It's pretty cool, pretty good deal. So, and I think, the entry for this is until November 19th, okay? So make sure if you want to enter for this, do that as soon as possible. Okay, so that is our big announcement for this week. Okay, go to part 2 then about review tips. And if you haven't, please, please, please make sure to hit the like button and share this video so that other people can find the lesson. I'll do that now. Facebook is working, so I will do that now. Like, share, bottom. Okay, cool. All right, so let's go to review tips now. Let's talk about some review tips. So let's go to the first one here. I'll share some examples in this section so you can see what I mean and see how you can use these tips for your study as well. So first tip, just review often. Review often. So that means maybe like you have a once a week review session, or my preference, what I try to do, not just for language study, but for anything I'm trying to learn, I review inside my study session always. I make some time inside my study session for review. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. So the tip, review often, okay? Second, when you review, try to use the information in a different way. When you review, try to use the information in a different way. This is super important for language study specifically. So, for example, let's say you review a grammar point in your textbook. Okay, great. So one grammar point, and you check the sentences you wrote. So you open your textbook and you look at the sentences you wrote the first time you studied this grammar point. Okay, good. So you reviewed the grammar in your brain. Then what? The next step, for example, use the same grammar and say some sentences. Okay, so what's happening here? The first point you were reading, right? You're reading the grammar. You're reading the information. You're understanding it like from an input kind of thinking, right? You're inputting. Then you review the sentences you wrote. So that's output, right? You're creating sentences. You're creating something with your hands, right? You're writing and putting the information together to make a sentence. Then you use it in a new way. So you use the same grammar to speak, right? So try to use the information in a new way. One problem I sometimes see with review in students, they just read. All their review is just reading. And it's great to review, like to read things again, of course. But especially with something like language, make sure you use it as well. So find different ways to use these things. Okay? All right, cool. So that is point 2 here. Then next, if you can, make the review process automatic. If you can, make the review process automatic. So what do I mean by that? Someone earlier said that they don't have time to review. So this, I think the best example of this is with vocabulary study. So you can do this with spaced repetition flashcards. I talk about this a lot on this channel. So spaced repetition flashcards are flashcards on your computer or on your phone, your smartphone. And it's a group of vocabulary words you study, right? But what's special about spaced repetition flashcards are when you get the answer wrong, the app or the program remembers which word was wrong, and they'll show it to you. The app will show it to you again really soon. So you don't need to remember which was hard and which was easy. The app remembers for you. So it quizzes you. You get tested on the hard ones, the challenging words more often. So these are super, super good vocabulary tools. If you use our website, if you use EnglishClass101.com, we have spaced repetition flashcards that you can use there. And of course, there are other apps that do this as well, but this is a super, super good one. I used these a few years ago when I was studying Japanese language. I talk about this sometimes. I used this on my commute, my morning and my evening commute, like 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the evening every day, like every working day, and my vocabulary went like this. So I really recommend this. This is super, super good, and it's automatic. You don't have to think about it. Then, use a 5 to 10 minute review session as your study warm-up. This is another thing I like to do, not just for language study. I do this for like music as well. When I'm practicing a piece of music, I use this review session as my study warm-up. So when I sit down like to do my studies or to do my practice for the day, I look at what I looked at the previous session, the previous practice time, and that becomes my study warm-up. So you could do this with grammar, you could do this with listening, with speaking, whatever. Your previous study session's topic can become the warm-up for your next study session. So that's like 5 to 10 minutes to review your previous things, right? So check this out. Check out this, you might try this out rather, instead of check this out, okay? Okay, I'm looking for your questions. What are the flashcards? Oh, these are called spaced repetition flashcards, spaced repetition flashcards. If you are an EnglishClass101.com user, you can find them, the flashcards on the website. Or if you Google spaced repetition flashcards, you can find some apps as well there too. Okay? Spaced. What is the meaning of spaced? Oh, yeah, so we can talk about this. I talk about this sometimes. Spaced repetition, this is the whole point of review, actually. So spaced means you study something and you leave a space, like one day or a week or something, and then you study it again. So this theory, this learning theory, is that you give your brain, you give your mind some time to understand the information, and as you start to forget, you study it again and you refresh your brain again. So this is the type of learning, this theory of learning is very, very popular and is very commonly taught and used now. So this idea of giving your brain like a small break between study sessions improves long-term memory. Okay? Yes. So this is the idea behind these review tips. Okay. Arun says, what we learn in the previous topic is important because that makes things easy. It makes things easier to learn new things. Yeah. So if you review and really understand your previous topic, you'll be able to carry that. You'll be able to use that as you move forward in your studies. Okay? All right, that's all for part 2. Okay, so these are a few tips, general tips about learning, and then in part 3, we're going to talk about some specific ideas, some more specific ideas. Okay, cool. So if you missed it earlier, this banner at the bottom of the screen talks about the free lifetime premium account. So our team put together for this season, this thankful season, 34 people, 34 people will get a free lifetime premium account. Check the link below the video on YouTube or above the video on Facebook to enter for this. I showed you this page earlier. So if you click the link, you will find this. So to enter, just put your email address here. If you have an account, you can still enter, but the deadline is right here. It's very small. The deadline is November 19th. So if you want to enter for this, please go very, very quickly and do that. And if you enter, you get these free ebooks. There are 9 of them here. So nouns, adjectives, conversations. So just from entering, you can get these too. So check this out and good luck. I hope you win. Okay? All right. So let's go to the last part for today's lesson. Some ideas for your review. Aswa says, do you have online courses? Yes, at EnglishClass101.com, the website I just showed you. That is where we have our English lessons, so check it out. There are lots of videos by me. Okay, let's go to the last part for today. And if you haven't, please, please, please make sure to like and share this video so other people can find the lesson. Okay, let's go to the last point, review ideas. So this is a big list of some ideas you can use to review in different ways, to review different content in different ways, okay? First, study vocabulary words again, okay? So we talked about vocabulary study with spaced repetition flashcards. So this is an easy one, a really easy one. Study your vocabulary words again. Of course, if you don't use spaced repetition flashcards, that's okay. Like maybe you have a list. You keep a list in a notebook or a list in like a journal. Just review that, once a week or every couple days. So make sure you study your vocabulary words again. I see lots of you in the chat and lots of you write to me too about how to remember vocabulary words. And the answer is to study them again and again and again. Okay, then next idea. Look at previous grammar points and create new sentences and questions. Look at previous grammar points, create new sentences and questions. So if you're using a textbook or maybe you do like video lessons, like grammar lessons, look at the sentences you wrote the first time, right? Make sure to practice, with writing these too. And create some new sentences and create questions. I often see, learners often don't practice question making, so practice using that grammar to make a question, if you can. Okay, so previous grammar points, create new sentences, and we talked about it before, practice writing and practice speaking too. So don't just read. This is also very, very important. Okay, next one. Here's another one. If you want to review something you read before, You can read articles and parts of books again, especially parts with new vocabulary words. So read articles, parts of books, maybe a newspaper, depending on your level, whatever. So focus, I said, especially parts with new vocabulary words. So for example, if you're reading a book or an article and you found a page or 2 pages where there are lots of new vocabulary words for you, go back and review that page or go back and review that part and check, like, did I learn the new vocabulary words? No? Okay, I need to study this again. So that's a really good way to check your progress and see, do I need to study more or should I move on? So especially check those parts with new vocabulary words. Okay. Alrighty, onward. Okay, the next tip for listening. If you're building your listening skills, listen to the audio again, of course. So if you have like a practice audio files, like MP3s or something, or just podcasts maybe too, of course you can listen to the audio again, but I really recommend you use a script to help you catch new words. So if you're using like a listening textbook, or if you have a podcast or some other audio file that has a script, great. So check that script. If there's no script, then maybe it's difficult. So that's why it's good to have an audio practice, some audio practice materials with a script. But check the script to help you catch the new words. So when I was teaching listening lessons, the students would often say it's really hard to catch all the words, and that's okay. So kind of a review flow for your listening practice is like the first time you listen once and then listen a second time, listen a third time reading the script, and then come back later and listen again. So try a few different times and look for the words that are really difficult for you. Okay? All right. Then one more is listen to recordings of yourself speaking and think about what to improve. This one scares a lot of people. A lot of people are really like nervous about recording themselves. So when I say record yourself, I mean you can just use your phone, like use your phone to do audio, just audio recording, or take a video if you like. Lots of people say, I don't like it, I don't like to hear my voice, I don't like. So this video or this recording is just for you, for your studies. So it's actually very helpful to check yourself. And you can check those old videos later and see your progress too. You might be surprised, actually, when you listen to your pronunciation or when you see like the way you're speaking or something. You might be surprised what you find when you check a recording of yourself. I use this for music practice a lot, actually. I review the videos and check to see like what could I do better, like what parts did I think sounded good but actually were kind of strange. So you can use these recordings to help yourself a lot. So don't be afraid to record yourself and listen to it later. You can compare that to a native speaker as well. Okay, so these are a few ideas. Of course, there are many, many different ideas for your review sessions. The key is to make sure you refresh your brain on the information you've already studied. That's the key here. So don't study just one time. Lots of people write to me about having trouble remembering things, and my first like mental medicine for that is make sure you review. Okay? All right, I'm looking for other points. Alaratam, is active recall a good idea? Yes, of course. Active recall is extremely important. What is active recall? Active recall is using your brain actively to try to remember information. So not just reading information and remembering what it is, but like actually trying to create something, like remembering the information and creating with it. Yeah, super, super important. Lots of people are saying that they feel they sound terrible when they record themselves. And again, it's not about how you think you sound, right? It's about listening to your grammar, to your pronunciation, and so on. So you have to kind of let go, let go of that. And also, you are the only person listening to it, right? You don't have to share your recording with anyone. It's just for you to practice, right? It's a tool for yourself. So try to see it as that, yeah? Okay, cool. So I am near the end of my time for today. Oh my gosh. So I will wrap up today's lesson. So that was all about review, why we should review, some tips for reviewing, and how to review. So if you missed it, here are today's lesson boards. You can take a screenshot. All right, so review. Why should we review? We talked about this. Here are a few tips for your review sessions and some ideas for how you can review if you like. Okay, cool. So that was a very nice topic. Please don't forget the importance of reviewing. Okay. Sunny says, how am I going to improve my writing? You can apply the same tips for sure. So look at the things that you wrote in the past and try to write new things. And again, use those new grammar points you're learning in your writing too. Okay, so the same ideas can apply. Okay. Next lesson. Next lesson. So I have to finish today's lesson, but I will, of course, be back next week. Next week is November 24th. That will be the date for our lesson. That is Wednesday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is New York City time. If you don't know your local time, please Google it. Or you can set a notification on YouTube or on Facebook. Or if you follow me on Instagram, I always share a topic link and a reminder in my stories. So check that out. You can follow me. The link is in the YouTube description. Next week, I'm going to focus on the Thanksgiving theme. We're going to talk about how to say thank you and express appreciation. So how do we express that we feel grateful, or how do we express appreciation for someone or something else? This will be the focus for next week's lesson. So please join me. Okay. We have to wrap up this lesson. Oh my gosh, I'm on time. That's amazing. I have one more minute. I will check your questions. Let's see. Someone writes, no matter how much I listen to myself, it's always perfect. Really? I'm not perfect. Everybody makes mistakes sometimes, surely. So think of, if you feel that you're perfect, maybe that means that you need to level up, right? So find some new vocabulary words, find some new grammar, find something to challenge yourself. Yeah? Which artist uses better grammar? You mean like a singer? Most people use grammar, I think, correctly, though some artists maybe use it differently. There's no such thing as the better grammar in that case. Anyway, let's wrap this up before the conversation goes all over the place. So, again, that will be it for this week. Thank you very much for joining me. Don't forget to join me again next time. If you want to get the banner promotion, here is the information again. You can win this free lifetime account. Check the link below the video if you're watching on YouTube, or above the video if you're watching on Facebook, to enter for this. And you can also find my social media accounts there. And you can send your questions to me for Ask Alicia there too. So check the description for all of that. Okay, so I will say goodbye for now. So thanks very much for joining me for this week's live lesson. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your week. And I will see you